I put a temporary tattoo on. Heyo, it's Oshi, welcome back. Today, I wanted to sit down and give you some movie recommendations. Wow, how innovative. I've seen a lot of videos being like, hey, if you like this movie, then maybe you'll like this movie. Essentially, it's just recommending movies based on other movies, which I thought, that sounds cool, let's do that. I'm going to be presenting you with one movie that you may have seen that is probably like a little bit more popular, and then I'm going to be giving you another movie that is maybe a little bit less popular, that maybe less people have seen, that I think you would also enjoy if you liked that other popular movie. Or who knows, maybe you've actually seen the other movie that I talk about, then you can go and check out the first one that I talk about. Did that make sense? I don't know. Either way, it's like a two-way street. Cool? Cool. Let's do it. First up, we have Hunt for the Wilderpeople. Hunt for the Wilderpeople follows a young boy who starts living with his new foster family, and certain events lead to him and his foster uncle, who does not like him very much, having to go on the run in the wild New Zealand bush as a national manhunt for them follows. It's charming, it's funny, it's directed by Taika Waititi. I think he wrote it as well, so of course it's gonna be amazing. If you enjoyed Hunt for the Wilderpeople, then I think you will really enjoy Captain Fantastic. This film follows a father and his, 6 kids, I want to say, all varying from the ages of around 18 to 5 years old, and they have all spent the majority of their lives living in the wild, in random forests. After the death of their mother, they have to re-enter society and face the difficulties that come with that. So both of these movies have the element of living and surviving in the wild, which some of these characters are better at doing than others. There is also the feeling of being ostracized from society and having no choice but to live away from everything. In Hunt for the Wilderpeople, that's because misunderstandings and assumptions start a national manhunt for our main characters, so to rejoin society is to literally be arrested, and that's not an option. For Captain Fantastic, it comes from this family having lived in the wild for so long that they've never had a life in the society. These kids have never grown up in actual civilization. The dad has also been away for so long, and he's really adamant about his kids growing up away from civilization because he thinks that everything to do with society is bad, and because of all of this, his wife's family is very judgmental and very unwelcoming towards them. Both films also have a very strong central theme of family. Hunt for the Wilderpeople is about a boy who's never had a family, having to bond with his foster uncle, who again never really wanted him or wanted a family in the first place. And Captain Fantastic is about a father who clearly loves his kids so much and wants the best for them, but he doesn't always know what that entails. If you liked either one of these movies, then I think you will like the other one, so go check them out. I believe both of them are on Netflix right now, so get on that. Next up, we have Zodiac. Zodiac is about the real-life case of the Zodiac Killer, which is one of America's biggest unsolved mysteries. The Zodiac Killer terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area in, I believe it was the 70s. The movie follows a number of people who were involved in the case, including a detective, a reporter, and a cartoonist who was working at the paper where the Zodiac sent his creepy-ass letters. It is very well done, it's creepy, it's edge of your seat, and it's very addicting. If you enjoyed Zodiac, then I think you will also enjoy Memories of Murder. Memories of Murder is also about a real-life case. This case is called the Hwasong Murders, which were serial assaults and murders in 1986 in the Gyeonggi province in Korea. The movie follows 3 detectives, some of them more honest than others, as they try to hunt down this killer. This was one of South Korea's biggest unsolved mysteries for 30 years, until it was finally solved in 2020. So just last year it got solved, and this film was released in 2003, so when it came out, it was still unsolved. So obviously the big similarity is that they are both about some of the most notorious true crime cases of their respective countries. They both had so many moving parts, so many people involved in the investigations, and so many frustrating missteps, errors, and mess-ups that eventually led to both of them being unsolved. And of course the Hwasong murders have since been solved, but for a very long time they had gone unsolved, and the Zodiac murders are still unsolved, although a lot of people have an inkling about who did it, but nothing is confirmed, and nothing may ever be confirmed. From an actual film standpoint, both are expertly written and directed. The performances are stellar all around, and they both have insane, just heart-pounding, harrowing stories. So if you enjoyed Zodiac, then I really think you will enjoy Memories of Murder. Also, I totally forgot to mention that Memories of Murder was directed by Sir Bong Joon-ho, as in Parasite Bong Joon-ho, so if that also does not make you want to watch it, then I don't know what will. Next movie, we have The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse takes place in the 1890s and follows two lighthouse keepers who are, would you believe it or not, keeping a lighthouse. And they're doing that through a terrible storm. The film essentially boils down to them trying to survive and maintain their sanity in a small space with only just themselves. If you enjoyed The Lighthouse, then I think that you should check out Shirley. Shirley follows a young couple who move in with a professor and his wife, who the husband is working for. The professor's wife is a famous horror writer, and she's like a method actor, but a method writer. So essentially she and her husband are seeing just how far they can push this young couple for the sake of her writing a sick book, which is already a fantastic premise in my opinion. So one of the biggest similarities is that they are both very bizarre. There are going to be a lot of moments in both of these movies where you're like so confused. You're gonna stop and you're gonna ask yourself, what is going on? What am I watching? Mom, come pick me up, I'm scared. That is the entire vibe of both of these films. They are really weird. They explore some interesting things to do with power and desire and homoeroticism. So if you're gonna watch either of these, don't take a shot every time you have a what the hell moment, because you will actually end up dead. So please don't do that. Both films are also, / may also be based on real life things as well. Sorry if the framing is kind of changing. I'm dealing with school as I'm doing this, so I think The Lighthouse makes some very blatant references to the case of the Flannan Isles lighthouse keepers. BuzzFeed Unsolved did a really great video about that. Basically, these lighthouse keepers went missing after a very bad storm, but then again, there's also contention of whether that storm was even real. Anyway, I don't think they were ever found, so they're just gone, and that's super fun. And yeah, I think The Lighthouse has some fun little Easter eggs from that case in the movie as well. And Shirley is based on a book that is based on a fictionalized version of the real-life author Shirley Jackson. The directing and cinematography of both these films is also to die for. The Lighthouse is one of the most beautiful and also aggressive black and whites I have ever seen, and I think that's supposed to be the point, to make the lights feel really, really light and to make the darks and the shadows feel like you're stepping into an abyss. The aspect ratio is almost square. I think it's 1:19:1, and it adds to this restless, claustrophobic feeling of the movie. Shirley is in color, but the colors are either very vibrant or they are more muted depending on the scene. Sometimes the colors are super vivid and it's like sickening to look at. There's a real hazy feeling to a lot of the movie as well, and okay, this is gonna sound really dumb, and only specific people will understand what I'm saying. I am migraine prone, so I get migraines very, very easily and very often as well, and that's just how it's been my whole life. One of the things that makes me feel weird is perfume. I can handle body mists, like from Bath & Body Works, the sprays that they have, that's fine, but actual real perfumes is just too much for me. Whenever I smell a real perfume, it doesn't give me a headache per se, but it makes my head feel stuffed up and fuzzy, and that is exactly how Shirley makes me feel, but in a better way. I feel like that's the only way that I can describe it, and literally only very specific people will understand even what I'm like trying to get across here. But yeah, if you get migraines, go and sniff some perfume, feel the feeling, and then immediately take a Tylenol, because I don't want you to get a migraine. Tylenol is my 7th food group. How many food groups are there? Did I just invent a number of food groups that don't exist? Hang on. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5. I said 7. I created 2 more food groups. Tylenol and wafer sticks. Those are my 2 extra food groups. Back to the movies. They are both very viscous and slow while also being overwhelming. Like, they're just amazing, and I highly, highly recommend them. Next movie, Isle of Dogs. Isle of Dogs takes place in a city where a canine flu has broken out and leads the mayor of the city to banish all dogs to a remote island that's essentially made of garbage. A young boy flies to the island in search of his lost pet, and so all the dogs have to band together to help him find his dog. It is so wholesome. I feel like if you don't want to watch it from what I just said, then what are you doing? If you like Isle of Dogs, then you will probably also like My Neighbor Totoro. This follows 2 young sisters and their father who move to the countryside to be closer to their hospitalized mother. Once there, they encounter magical creatures called totoros who live in surrounding trees, and they are absolutely adorable. Both Isle of Dogs and My Neighbor Totoro have beautiful, beautiful animation styles. Isle of Dogs is stop motion animation, and Totoro is 2D animation. They are stunning in their own rights. There is so much life and love to these visuals, and in both of these movies, they're both whimsical and they evoke so much joy. Also, the way language is used in both of these movies is kind of cool. So Isle of Dogs is set in a Japanese city, and that means all the characters speak Japanese, and there are no subtitles. So the only characters who speak English are the dogs and the American exchange student, who is voiced by our queen, Greta Gerwig, and also the English translators. So it's really cool because it lets you see the visuals and use what is actually on screen to interpret the story from the Japanese characters without actually telling you what's going on. Similarly, the Totoros in My Neighbor Totoro don't actually speak at all, or at least I don't think they do, so only the humans do. So the sisters have to communicate with the Totoros and all of the other magical elements of the story without words at all. Both movies hint around the relationship between people and animals, I guess. Isle of Dogs is the bond between kids and their dogs, and Totoro is about these kids and magical spirits. Overall, both movies are just absolutely perfect for kids and adults alike, and that is the best kind of animation. Palm Springs! Palm Springs was one of my favorite films of last year, and I just had to include it in this video. So, what is it about? This follows a character named Niles who is stuck in a time loop on the day of the wedding, and the sister of the bride, Sarah, also ends up getting stuck in the time loop with him, and they have to figure out how to escape it together. If you liked Palm Springs, then I recommend you check out Love and Monsters. This takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where monsters have overrun the land and everyone lives in little groups in bunkers. Our main character, Joel, was separated from his girlfriend 5 years ago when the apocalypse first happened, and he decides to set out on an 80-mile journey to find her. The only problem is that he is the least qualified person to do so because he cannot fight monsters and he has a high chance of dying within the hour. The tones of both of these movies are very similar. They're lighthearted and upbeat and funny. They're very easy to watch, just something easy to sit down with and have a lot of fun and not think too hard. Underneath all of that though, there is a genuine heart and sincerity to these stories. They both take place in relatively normal worlds with just one key element that's wrong. Palm Springs is obviously the time loop, and Love and Monsters are the monsters. They also both have an emphasis on living and life. The characters in Palm Springs have been in this time loop for who knows how long at this point and have gotten very tired of living. They don't really care about anything anymore. Nothing they do matters. Everything just resets at the end of the day, so no one's gonna remember anything they do. But it's through being with each other that they realize that there is a point in living. With Love and Monsters, Joel has spent years wasting his life and being useless, essentially, so this journey to reunite with his girlfriend means something to him. It means that he's out there using the life that he is given. Both are great. I'd say that I probably like Palm Springs more, but I think Love and Monsters is really fun, and it's just a great thing to throw on when you need a laugh. Let's talk about Coco. Coco, I feel like everyone knows what this is about, but I'll explain it anyway. Coco follows a kid named Miguel who loves music, even though music has been banned in his family for generations. On Dia de los Muertos, he sort of accidentally transports to the land of the dead, where he meets his dead relatives, and he must get back before morning or he will die for real. If you enjoyed Coco, then I think you will really like Kubo and the True Strings. This film follows a kid who uses music as magic. He can make origami move and tell stories with his music. When he accidentally summons a vengeful spirit, he must embark on a journey to find the secrets of his parentage and his powers. Once again, both of these films have gorgeous animation. The animation of The Land of the Dead is absolutely stunning and so full of life, which is ironic because it's the Land of the Dead, but I think that's the point. Kubo is all pastel and soft while also having sharp cut corners and edges. It reminds me of origami paper and actually like origami itself. It's a really beautiful style of animation and I love it so much. For the actual story, both films have a huge emphasis on music. It's a huge part of our main characters' lives and gives them something to love and to live for. It also gives them power, figuratively for Coco and literally in Kubo. And there is also a huge family and journey aspect to both of these films as well. So both Coco and Kubo go on journeys that heavily involve learning about their families, their family history, uncovering the secrets that have been lost throughout the years, and eventually getting closer to their family. They're just both really awesome, and if you've seen and liked Coco, then I think you should definitely check out Kubo. And finally, the last little pair of recommendations I have for you, A Quiet Place. So this movie is set in a post-apocalyptic world, and a family lives in complete silence here, because they're hiding from monsters who hunt people by sound. If you enjoyed A Quiet Place, then I think you will also enjoy The Host, 2006, also directed by Bong Joon-ho. This movie follows a man named Gang-doo who works in his father's snack bar near the Han River, and one day, a monster appears. Because of toxic chemicals that have been dumped in the Han River, a mutated squid monster thing just starts attacking people and takes Gang-doo's daughter. Even though they're forced to be quarantined, Gang-doo and his siblings and his father are hell-bent on saving his daughter. So obviously the surface level similarities are that they are both monster survival movies. They're tense, they're fast-paced, and they're just plain fun to watch. Another similarity is that there is a very big emphasis on family in both of these films. A Quiet Place is really about how far you would go for the safety of your kids and like what would you do for them? What would you sacrifice for them? The Host is also about what you would do for your kids and also for your other family members. There are some differences. The family in A Quiet Place is more functional than The Host, but there is a narrative of families working together in both of these, coming together to face the worst odds and save each other's lives. There's also an element of mystery surrounding the monsters in both of these movies. In The Quiet Place, it's more about like how the monsters operate and how to defeat them, and in The Host, it's about how the monsters even came to be, and what is being done now to try and get rid of it. Both are super fun. Obviously, A Quiet Place is really popular, so if you want another really great monster movie, you might like The Host. Check it out. Okay, that is all I have for you. This was a lot of fun trying to find similarities between movies and seeing like what someone would like if they already liked this one thing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, let me know if you have seen some of these movies, if you want to check out some of the ones that I mentioned. Also let me know if you have other movie recommendations based off of the movies that I gave you, because I'd love to find more. If you enjoyed this sort of stuff and you want to see more of it from me, please make sure to hit that subscribe button because I make new videos every Friday. Also, I am on platforms, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and Letterboxd, those links will be in the description down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!